Crimes Against Civilians. 434, 435, 436, 437. The allegations include violations of international humanitarian law. 438. By the UN Human Rights Council. 439. The U.S. State Department has called reports of abuses of significant human rights of Palestinians credible both within Israel. 440, and the occupied territories. 441. Amnesty International and other NGOs have documented mass arbitrary arrests, torture, unlawful killings, systemic abuses and impunity. 442, 443, 444, 445, 446, 447, in tandem with the denial of the right to Palestinian self-determination. 448, 449, 450, 451, 452. Prime Minister Netanyahu has defended the country's security forces for protecting the innocent from terrorists. 453, and expressed contempt for what he describes as a lack of concern about the human rights violations committed by criminal killers. 454. The international community widely regards Israeli settlements in the occupied territories illegal under international law. 455. The United Nations, however, has been accused of bias against Israel. 456, 457, United Nations Security Council Resolution 2334, passed 2016, states that Israel's settlement activity constitutes a flagrant violation of international law and demands that Israel stop such activity and fulfill its obligations as an occupying power under the Fourth Geneva Convention. 458. A United Nations Special Rapporteur concluded that settlement program was a war crime under the Rome Statute. 459. And Amnesty International found that the settlement program constitutes an illegal transfer of civilians into occupied territory as well as amounting to pillage, which is prohibited by both the Hague Conventions and the Geneva Conventions as well as being a war crime under the Rome Statute. 460. Apartheid accusations. Israel's treatment of the Palestinians within the occupied territories have drawn widespread accusations that it is guilty of apartheid, a crime against humanity under the Rome Statute and the International Convention on the Suppression and Punishment of the Crime of Apartheid. 461, 462. A 2021 survey of academic experts on the Middle East found an increase from 59% to 65% of these scholars describing Israel as a one-state reality akin to apartheid. 463, 464. This claim has been affirmed by the Israeli human rights organizations Yesh Din and B'Tselem along with other international human rights groups, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, with the criticism extending to its treatment of Palestinians within Israel. 465, 466. Amnesty's report was criticized by politicians and representatives from Israel and its closest allies such as the United States. 467. The United Kingdom. 468. The European Commission. 469. Australia. 470. Netherlands. 471. And Germany. 472. While said accusations were welcomed by Palestinians, 473 representatives from other states and organizations such as the Arab League. 474. In 2022, Michael Lynk, a Canadian law professor appointed by the UN Human Rights Council, said that the situation met the legal definition of apartheid. 475. Subsequent reports from his successor Francesca Albanese and from permanent United Nations fact-finding mission on the Israel-Palestine conflict Chair Navi Pillay echoed the opinion. 476, 477, Foreign Relations. Diplomatic relations suspended. Former diplomatic relations. No diplomatic relations. But former trade relations. No diplomatic relations. Israel maintains diplomatic relations with 164 member states of the United Nations, as well as with the Holy See, Kosovo, the Islands and NU. It has 107 diplomatic missions. Winking sad smiley. 478. Countries with whom they have no diplomatic relations include most Muslim countries. 479. 6 out of 22 nations in the Arab League have normalized relations with Israel. Israel remains formally in a state of war with Syria, a status that dates back uninterrupted to 1948. It has been in a similarly formal state of war with Lebanon since the end of the Lebanese Civil War in 2000. With the Israel-Lebanon border remaining unagreed by treaty. Despite the peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, Israel is still widely considered an enemy country among Egyptians. 480. Iran withdrew its recognition of Israel during the Islamic Revolution. 481. Israeli citizens may not visit Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen without permission from the Ministry of the Interior. 482. As a result of the 2008-09 Gaza War, Mauritania, Qatar, Bolivia and Venezuela suspended political and economic ties with Israel. 483. Though Bolivia renewed ties in 2019. 484. Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat at the signing ceremony of the Oslo Accords with then U.S. President Bill Clinton. The United States and the Soviet Union were the first two countries to recognize the State of Israel, having declared recognition roughly simultaneously. 485. Diplomatic relations with the Soviet Union were rebroken in 1967. Following the Six-Day War, and renewed in October 1991. 486. The United States regards Israel as its most reliable partner in the Middle East. 487. Based on common democratic values, religious affinities, and security interests. 488. The U.S. has provided $68 billion in military assistance and $32 billion in grants to Israel since 1967, under the Foreign Assistance Act, period beginning 1962, 489, more than any other country for that period until 2003. 489, 490, 491, most surveyed. American Shave also held consistently favorable views of Israel. 492, 493. The United Kingdom is seen as having a natural relationship with Israel because of mandate for Palestine. 494. By 2007, Germany had paid 25 billion euros in reparations to the Israeli state and individual Israeli Holocaust survivors. 495. Israel is included in the European Union's European Neighborhood Policy. 496. Although Turkey and Israel did not establish full diplomatic relations until 1991. 497. Turkey has cooperated with Jewish states since its recognition of Israel in 1949. Turkey's ties to other Muslim-majority nations in the region have at times resulted in pressure from Arab and Muslim states to temper its relationship with Israel. 498. Relations between Turkey and Israel took a downturn after the 2008-09 Gaza War and Israel's raid of the Gaza Flotilla. 499. Relations between Greece and Israel have improved since 1995 due to the decline of Israeli-Turkish relations. 500. The two countries have a defense cooperation agreement, and in 2010, the Israeli Air Force hosted Greece's Hellenic Air Force in a joint exercise. The joint Cyprus-Israel oil and gas explorations centered on the Leviathan gas field are an important factor for Greece, given its strong links with Cyprus. 501. Cooperation in the world's longest submarine power cable, the Eurasia Interconnector, has strengthened Cyprus-Israel relations. 502. Azerbaijan is one of the few majority Muslim countries to develop strategic and economic relations with Israel. 503. Kazakhstan also has an economic and strategic partnership with Israel. 504. India established full diplomatic ties with Israel in 1992 and has fostered a strong military, technological and cultural partnership with the country since then. 505. India is the largest customer of the Israeli military equipment, and Israel is the second largest military partner of India after Russia. 506. Ethiopia is Israel's main ally in Africa due to common political, religious and security interests. 507. Foreign aid. Israel has a history of providing emergency foreign aid and humanitarian response to disasters across the world. 508. In 1955 Israel began its foreign aid program in Burma. The program's focus subsequently shifted to Africa. 509. Israel's humanitarian efforts officially began in 1957, with the establishment of Mashaf, the Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation. 510. In this early period, whilst Israel's aid represented only a small percentage of total aid to Africa, its program was effective in creating goodwill. However, following the 1967 war, relations soured. 511. Israel's foreign aid program subsequently shifted its focus to Latin America. 509. Since the late 1970s Israel's foreign aid has gradually decreased, although in recent years Israel has tried to re-establish aid to Africa. 512. There are additional Israeli humanitarian and emergency response groups that work with the Israel government, including IsraAid, a joint program run by Israeli organizations and North American Jewish groups. 513. Zaka. 514. The Fast Israeli Rescue and Search Team. 515. Israeli Flying Aid. 516. Save a Child's Heart. 517, and later. 518. Between 1985 and 2015, Israel sent 24 delegations of IDF Search and Rescue Unit, the Home Front Command, to 22 countries. 519. Currently Israeli foreign aid ranks low among OECD nations, spending less than 0.1% of its GNI on development assistance. 520. The country ranked 38th in the 2018 World Giving Index. 521. Military. F-35 fighter jets of the Israeli Air Force. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, is the sole military wing of the Israeli Security Forces and is headed by its Chief of General Staff, the Ramakal, subordinate to the cabinet. The IDF consists of the Army, Air Force and Navy. It was founded during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War by consolidating paramilitary organizations, chiefly the Haganah. 522. The IDF also draws upon the resources of the Military Intelligence Directorate, Amman. 523. The IDF have been involved in several major wars and border conflicts, making it one of the most battle-trained armed forces in the world. 524. Most Israelis are conscripted at age 18. Men serve 2 years and 8 months and women 2 years. 525. Following mandatory service, Israeli men join the reserve forces and usually do up to several weeks of reserve duty every year until their 40s. Most Oman are exempt from reserve duty. Arab citizens of Israel, except the Druze, and those engaged in full-time religious studies are exempt, although the exemption of yeshiva students has been a source of contention. 526, 527. An alternative for those who receive exemptions on various grounds is Shi'at Liyumi, or national service, which involves a program of service in social welfare.